Okay, here goes Danelle with her lie about the background of CSI investigator James Cron. James Cron actually worked with Detective David Neighbors, or Lieutenant David Neighbors, from the Rowlett Police Department after, I believe it was in 2001, they opened up their own CSI company, Crime Scene Investigations. But here she is, once again, going to lie to her subs. And the only reason that someone lies is to deflect from the truth. James Cron was not only a CSI investigator, he was the CSI investigator. But let her lie. Listen here.
Same with James Cron. He hadn't even collected evidence. He was the crime scene investigator that they consulted. But let's be clear, he was not a crime scene investigator. He was actually a fingerprinter.
She says he's the crime scene investigator that they consulted and then denies that he's a crime scene investigator. He was a fingerprint expert. Anything that had to do with collecting evidence at a crime scene, he did it.
Or the lieutenant over the evidence locker for Dallas County.
He was the commander of crime scene investigations in the Dallas Sheriff's Department. You can see that in another one of my videos. She's a liar. It pisses me off to no end. She's just like her sister, just like her mother. Is that her lying?
County Sheriff's Department. He was a civilian employee. He was not a police officer.
He was not a police officer at the time. He moved into his own independent crime scene analysis company.
He did have some training in fingerprinting. He had some training in crime scene photography through the FBI.
Anything that had to do with crime scene investigations, and he had 30 years of experience in that, 40 years of experience altogether. Crime scene investigations involves photography. It involves collection of evidence. It involves fingerprinting. You have to be an expert in all of that stuff to become the commander of crime scene investigations in the Dallas Sheriff's Office.
FBI, Quantico. But like those are seminars.
How do you know? You're talking about seminars. You're not talking about the 4,000 scenes he's had with bodies. Are you? Those are seminars. That look on your face. Did you take a lie detector test, Darlie? Yes. What was the result? Inconclusive, I think they said. Look how much you look like your sister right now. Telling this bold ass lie.
Like, you don't even have to take a test.
How do you know? How many seminars for fingerprinting have you been to? You're a nurse who doesn't actually work on people anymore. So does that make you not a nurse because you work from home? Right? You've told us all that you work from home. You take a little walk, you got your own little office out there. What are you doing? Medical building and coding? Oh, you're not a nurse, right?
Is that really training?
No, it wouldn't be if it was true. No, training is hands-on training. 4,000 bodies. 4,000 scenes with bodies, 23,000 scenes altogether. 4,000 of those with bodies. That's training. Now, let her talk more.
It's your responsibility to know the material when you leave there.
Well, all I know is that he felt like there was no intruder, and to this day, you have no evidence of an intruder. None. You have no evidence of an intruder. None. And it all points back to Darlie, always has.
So we just have to trust that he paid attention. No, he was not a crime scene investigator.
You introduced him as a crime scene investigator, a dumbass. Oops, sorry. Sorry. Dingbat.
He most certainly told them within 30 minutes of being at the house that it was an inside job.
He felt like it was an inside job. Sure did. And to this day, 30 years later, it still looks like an inside job. We're not the ones sitting out here with dark eyes under it, stressing out about it, Darlie Jr. We're not. Look at you. You need to get some makeup, fix that shit.
And here we are. So anyways, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for following along.
Thank you to my sheeple. She's going to say that he's not a crime. She's going to double down on that after I know she watches my videos. So I'm going to go even further into James Cron. Now, this is a clip from Beach House 34 Official. She's only got 575 subscribers, but she needs more because she put a lot of work into this trial transcript. This is trial transcript part 20, Darlie Routier trial, a loan denied, which was Okie Williams from Bank One, and the first part of the testimony from James Cron. I really appreciate that this lady took the time to read these out so well that she did that. And those that want to know more about the case and the facts in the case, I suggest that you go to Beach House 34 Official and sub up. She put a lot of work into this. And now we'll be able to use it forever. Here she starts to talk about
this time. The court then says, thank you, your next witness. And the next witness on the list is the beginning of the James Cron testimony. And the direct examination is being done by Mr. Greg Davis of the prosecution. Sir, would you please tell us your full name? James Cron. Spell your last name. C-R-O-N. Mr. Cron, you live in Dallas County? Yes. Okay. How are you employed at this time? I'm a consultant in the field of crime scene research, fingerprints, and physical evidence. All right. Recently, within the last few years, have you been retired from the Dallas Sheriff's Department? Yes. Okay. And how long were you with the Dallas Sheriff's Department? 29 years. Okay. And before the Dallas Sheriff's Department, were you employed in law enforcement? Yes. And where were you employed? As a civilian employee with the Dallas Police Department. All right. Let's start with the Dallas Police Department first. What were your duties while you were there with the Dallas Police Department? Well, in 1958, I joined the Dallas Police Department as a civilian employee in the crime scene search section, and my duties involved clerical work and assisting in processing evidence. And I learned at that time some of the officers taught me crime scene investigation and photography. All right. How long were you with the Dallas Police Department? 6 years. Okay, so when did you start with the Sheriff's Department in Dallas? In 1964. Okay. What were your duties with the Dallas Sheriff's Department? In 1964, when I joined the Dallas Sheriff's Department, it was as a deputy sheriff assigned to the Identification Bureau. My duties involved the keeper of the fingerprint files and the crime scene search investigations. Okay, you were talking about the Identification Bureau. Do they deal with fingerprints? Yes. Okay. For instance, would they deal with inmates' fingerprints of people in the Dallas County Jail, for instance? Yes. You also mentioned that you were with the crime scene department there at the Sheriff's Department. What were your duties with that section? Well, in the Identification Bureau, part of the duties involved not only keeper of the fingerprint records of the inmates, but it was crime scene investigation. In 1972, I was promoted to sergeant and told to create a separate section that devoted all of its time to crime scene search activity, and that was the physical evidence section. I remained commander of it for 21 years. During that time, I was promoted to lieutenant, but I was commander of the physical evidence section for 21 years, and I retired in 93 as a lieutenant of that section. Okay. In 1993, were you still the commander of the physical evidence section at that time? Yes. I was its only commander from the time it was formed in 1972 until the time I retired. Okay. The total number of years now that you have been in law enforcement doing crime scene work and dealing with fingerprints, etc., how many years? 39 years, counting my consulting time, which I devote to crime scene search matters. Are you a member at this present time of any professional associations or societies? Yes. What associations or societies are you presently a member of? I assume you're talking about those that deal with the crime scene search matters? Yes, sir. International Association for Identification and the Texas Division of the International Association for Identification. What is the Society for Identification? What is that? It's an international society of people in the profession of in dealing with physical evidence and forensic sciences, any aspect of crime scene investigation. Okay. In the past, have you been a member of any other societies or associations dealing with that area? Yes. Could you just name a few of those for us, please? International Association for Bloodstain Analysts, the Homicide Investigator Association of Homicide Investigators of Texas. That's 2 of them. Okay. Can you give us a brief overview of the training, either through universities or the like, or other police agencies, that you have received in crime scene reconstruction, fingerprints, the area that you are now a consultant in? Yes. In addition to my 39 years, beginning in 58 at the police department in Dallas and the sheriff's department in the consulting business, I have attended numerous schools dealing with physical evidence and latent print subjects, some of them being at the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia, Burlington County College in New Jersey, Toronto, Canada Police Department, regional police academies, and sheriff's departments academies.
Seems like Danelle skipped a few things, didn't she? He had a lot of training. And he rose up quickly to head these physical evidence, fingerprinting, anything that had to do with investigating a crime scene.
In the state of Texas, Council of Government in Arlington, Texas, which is a North Central Texas area training academy. I have attended courses put on by the Northwestern University out of Illinois, the National Law Enforcement Institute, and, well, that is the primary courses. And I did mention, I believe, that those courses involved crime scene search procedures, latent print development and comparison, photography, and matching of physical evidence. I now teach in the subject of crime scene search,
Eaches. So Danelle is a nurse. She had to go through a bit of schooling for that. I'm pretty sure that she only went to one school. Cron went to various schools and universities across the country and in Canada. So since Danelle works at home now, does that mean she's not a nurse anymore? She doesn't actually put her hands on people anymore. It's more like medical billing and coding, in my opinion. Does that mean and you can make some money at that. My wife's got a degree in it. Does that mean she's not a nurse anymore? No, it doesn't.
latent print development and comparison, and crime scene search procedures in general. Some of the places I have taught or still teach at are SMU, Texas A&M, Dallas Baptist University, Texas Women's University in Denton, Dallas County Community College District, local sheriff's departments in in Texas, and police departments. I have taught at Tacoma, Washington, Denver, Colorado Police Department, and just Navarro County Junior College in those areas. I have had material written or published that I have written on the subject of evidence, photography, laser usage in law enforcement, and ethics of law enforcement consultants. These have been published in technical journals, some of them being the Fingerprint Identification Magazine, the Journal for Forensic Identification. I have received approximately 150 awards and commendations through my career. And when I retired, I received the Governor's Law Enforcement Achievement Award for excellence in my field of law enforcement. I am now the chairman of, well, not chairman, I am a member of the Committee for Crime Scene Certification in Texas. I have been chairman of the Latent Prints Certification Committee. I was on that committee for 3 years in Texas. Okay. You talked about your certification in crime scene search and also in latent fingerprint identification.
teaches it, Danelle. Across the country. So you must not be a nurse because you don't teach it, right? I mean, you don't go across the country teaching other people how to aid others, do you? You must not be a nurse. You're not a real nurse anyway. You're just a consultant now because you only do paperwork. You don't work at a hospital, do you? No, you walk through the woods to your little work area and you handle some type of paperwork.
Are there certain certificates that you now hold in your specialties? Yes. Okay. What certificates do you presently hold? I am a certified latent print examiner and a certified senior crime scene analyst. Okay. With regards to the latent fingerprint identification, what sort of requirements do you have to meet to become certified, as you are? On latent prints? Yes, sir. On the latent print, it's a several part test. Some of it is involving comparing unknown prints with known prints. There's very little margin for error. They have changed the test
Sounds to me like you need to hire Cron to find out what 85J is.
somewhat now. I believe you can miss 2 out of 10. There is a written test, an oral exam, and a mock trial, and a background check too of the committee to see if the people are qualified and their other schooling fits our criteria. What other certifications do you hold? The Senior Crime Scene Analyst. Okay.
Senior crime scene analyst. He's not a crime scene investigator. He's not. Crime scene investigator James Cron is not a crime scene investigator. She announced him and she introduced him as one. Duh.
Is there any level higher than a senior crime scene analyst in that particular field? No. Not from the International Association of Identification, which issues the certification. Mr. Cron, in your 39 years, have you had occasion to go out and investigate crime scenes and process crime scenes? Yes. This may be a hard question. You got any ballpark figure of the number of crime scenes that you have gone out to in 39 years? Yes, I was asked that in another case, and I have some and had done some research on that. And counting civil cases and crime scene cases, all cases I have been involved in the last 39 years, is approximately 21,000. Okay. And of the 21,000 crime scenes, do you know about how many of those would deal with death cases? With deaths, it was approximately 4,300. Okay. And included in those death cases, would there be homicides? Yes, all deaths, homicides are some of them. Okay. Just a couple of things. Before we came down here to Kerrville, had we had occasion to talk about this case before? Yes. Both in person and over the telephone, we have talked, haven't we? Yes. Have I met you at my office on some occasions? Yes. Have we ever met together out at 5801 Eagle Drive? Once. Okay. Since we have been down here in Kerrville, have we talked about your testimony and about the case? Yes. Okay. By the way, are you being paid to testify in this case, Mr. Cron? No. How long have you had to be down here in Kerrville? I came down last Tuesday, flew back Friday night, came back Sunday. So going on 2 weeks. All right. Well, if I can, let's go here to June the 6th of 1996. Let me ask you whether sometime early in the morning on June 6th, 1996, if you received a call from the dispatcher for the Rowlett Police Department. I did. Okay. And do you remember about what time it was that you were called? Yes, it was around 5 a.m. Okay. And how far away from Rowlett do you live? I never did. It's about a 15-minute drive. You live in generally the same area, the northeastern part of Dallas County, right? Yes. Okay. What information were you given when you were called by the dispatcher? What did you understand that she wanted you to do? The dispatcher didn't relay much information. It just said that the crime scene officers from Rowlett asked if I would meet them on Eagle Drive. They had a homicide investigation that they would like my assistance on. Okay. Had you had some prior association with the Rowlett Police Department prior to June 6th of 1996? Yes, over the past 15 or 20 years. Okay, I guess just trying to understand why they called you. Can you tell us a little bit about how you had been associated with Rowlett prior to that date? Well, through the sheriff's office physical evidence section, I dealt with them for many years. Since I retired from 93, I have conducted 3 different schools there for their officers. Okay. Did you go out to 5801 Eagle Drive in Rowlett? Yes. Do you know about what time you arrived at the scene, sir? Yes, it was about approximately 5:45. All right. And when you got there, did you meet with anyone? Yes. Do you recall who you met with first? Sergeant Neighbors, Officer Main, and Sergeant Matt Walling. Where did you meet these people?
Okay, this goes into more about what he did during the case, during being at the crime scene. What I wanted to do in this video was show his credentials and show how Donnell minimized it. He's not only a crime scene investigator, he's the top crime scene investigator in the Dallas area, probably in Texas. His credentials way outweigh what she thinks about him. 4,300 bodies, 39 years experience. Moving up the ladder, he got so good at it that he was able to teach crime scene investigation, physical evidence analyzer. Physical evidence. That's anything that's physical evidence at a scene. You have circumstantial evidence and physical evidence. In Darlie's case, a lot of it is circumstantial, but there is some physical evidence. That's why he told them to test every knife, test every footprint of the paramedics and first responders that came in there. So he's not only a crime scene investigator, he's the best. That's why Rowlett called him. Donnell. Shame on you, Donnell, you big old fibber. Shame on you. Again, go see Beach House 34 on YouTube. She reads off all these transcripts from bond hearing to custody. She's got it all over there. I appreciate what she's done over there, and I encourage people to look at Beach House 34 official. If you're interested in this case, either way. This can be for supporters or non-supporters. Then you can catch people in their little lies with it.